Welcome to Ask Dr. Furlong Facebook Live. Happy New Year to everybody. This is our first episode in 2019. We like to do these Facebook Live informational episodes about once a month, and so we wanted to bring you the brand new 2019 edition. This is an exciting one. I've got a patient of mine here that had laser eye surgery 2 months ago in November. This is Mitchell Kos. Mitchell,
nice to meet you.
Welcome. Thanks for coming.
Really glad to be here again.
So we talk about a bunch of different things in the past. Today what we want to talk a little bit about is how laser vision correction can change or improve your active lifestyle. So as you can see, this guy's pretty young. He does a lot of stuff. Stuff I read on things that you like to do. So you can add to this list.
Yeah, go through
the
list.
So I've got, and I'm not going in any particular order.
That's okay.
Okay. So I've got rugby.
Yeah.
Like what kind of rugby? Like regular?
50 men.
Okay.
50 men rugby.
So we got rugby. You just told me you're starting to play ice hockey again.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got ice hockey. We got diving, scuba diving.
Yep.
And how deep do you go?
Rescue dive, so rec limits are 110 feet, so anywhere in the 100 feet.
Okay, so deep diving. Pilot.
Yep.
Okay.
Recreational pilot.
And skiing.
Skiing.
Snowboarding or skiing?
I do both, but my parents will kill me if I say snowboarding instead of skiing. I used to teach skiing.
Okay, skiing it is.
Skiing.
I bet he wears a helmet. That's a requirement now. What else did I leave off? Did I leave anything off?
Yoga is like one thing
Yoga.
I picked up in the last 2 years. That's been
cool.
like a really cool one. So.
Okay, so Mitchell came to see me because, of course, when you have that active of a lifestyle, and we'll get into his kind of dream job in a little bit, you know, wearing glasses or contacts is a hindrance in many cases, and contacts are great. I mean, if they fit comfortably, you're able to wear them and do all of these activities without physically having glasses on your face. But a lot of people either have trouble with contacts, can't wear them for very long, or they're irritating and they can't do all of the things they like to do. So what kind of difficulties were you having engaging in the lifestyle that you wanted to?
I have had corrective lenses since like grade 1, so pretty much for most of my life.
Okay.
And then I had contacts, I think, from like 2009 or so. So I've had them for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, I loved contacts because it allowed me to, you know, like you said, do everything without ever having to worry about taking lenses. But most of the activities I always had lenses with me anyways.
Right.
When it came to like flying, I even had to have my glasses like in the cockpit with me.
Okay.
So I mean I got used to having contacts. I saw better than 20/20 with them, so I never really had a problem with them. When it really came down to, you know, the future planning and this and that, I definitely still had a hindrance with contacts when it came to things like diving, swimming, definitely having the factor of possibly like water coming in your mask and like washing your lenses out. Like when you're at, you know, 100 feet below water, like what do you do if you lose your contacts? It's like a very like scary thing to think about. So I think most people would agree that have contacts or are currently thinking of getting them. They're great and they're a great invention, but definitely something that still comes with some limitations.
Well, they do have limitations in a lot of cases, and whether you're in the middle of a deep water dive or something where the environment can change rapidly. I mean, I grew up body surfing in Hawaii, and I wore contact lenses, and I remember losing one in the middle of it, and so I had one eye that saw great, and the other I couldn't see anything, and I would make my way to shore, and my surfing day was done because I didn't bring a pair of contacts with me. So they do have limitations, and I'm glad to hear that those stories are pretty consistent. So you came to see me to see if you're a candidate, which is really the first step. And I do want to talk a little bit about the type of surgery you had in just a little bit. I also do want to invite everybody watching, if you guys have questions specifically for Mitch or about the procedures that we offer here, please submit those online, because we're going to get to those in a little bit later in the segment as well. So when you came to see me, you know, we took a look at your eyes and we determined your prescription, and then we also do these sophisticated exam tests on your corneas to see are you a good candidate. And as most people who come in to learn a little bit about laser eye surgery find out, it's not just one surgery. It's not just LASIK or just laser vision correction. In your case, because your corneas were a little thinner than average and your prescription of your contacts was a little higher than average, my recommendation was to do not LASIK but PRK surgery, which gives the same results but much safer for somebody like you. So when you were given that news, had you heard a little bit about PRK? Did you know about that procedure?
Yeah. I think we talked like when I came out. I had previously, before I moved to the States from Canada, before I left, I'd had like a consultation with a TLC affiliated center, which was one of the reasons that led me to you anyways. And they gave me the same kind of prognosis. They said, based off your cornea thinness and your prescription, like PRK would be the best option. At that point, I was like, I don't really know the difference between the two. Just, does it fix your eyes better than one or the other? Probably what most people kind of consider when they're looking at it. So I kind of knew a bit about PRK, what the procedure was. I didn't know too much in terms of the technical kind of itty bitty grid like details in terms of like what it does or how it, you know, what's the recovery like. Sure. It was just more, I had heard of PRK, and that's kind of what most of the pilots that I know have done because it's been around a little bit longer. But most, as you know, like laser vision has changed so rapidly in, you know, 10 years even, that it's, you know, from the time even 2 years ago, I didn't know what to really expect. And so that's one of the reasons I came to you, because I knew you were TLC affiliated, and figured, hey, it would be a good way to see, do I get the same kind of recommendation from someone else? And then that would be more of an accurate decision when I came to it.
And it's pretty common. We see patients that see multiple providers in our area, and sometimes they do get different recommendations. I've had patients come to me and say, well, this doctor recommended I can have LASIK, and this doctor said PRK, and a third one said I shouldn't have any surgery. And so they get confused, and everybody's parameters may vary a little bit too. And it is, you've highlighted our affiliation with a company called TLC, and TLC is a laser company, been around more than 20 years. They have about 55, 60 laser centers all throughout the United States, in Canada as well. And we're affiliated with the Northern California affiliate, and we took your information and that recommendation. We went ahead and did our own evaluation. And I did recommend PRK because in your case it would be a much safer procedure. The whole surgery took about how long?
10 minutes and 6 seconds. I had to shout out to Allison and David, my two friends that brought me here. I had requested that they film it for my family, because a lot of people wanted to see what it was about. And if you haven't seen the video, the people that know me have seen some of the video. That my friend David commented through the whole thing, and it was pretty funny. You guys told me it was a 10-minute segment from start to finish, and it was literally on the dot 10 minutes and 6 seconds.
I'm glad. It's funny that you actually knew the exact time lapse. Yeah. They videotaped the whole thing. So what do you do now? What do you?
Currently, I work at Tesla as an engineering supervisor.
Okay.
And so kind of a bit of background in that industry, being in the automotive manufacturing industry. I spend most of my time on the plant floor, solving issues or being out there with my maintenance team. And a lot of that is, dusty environments. They're loud, noisy. They're not, filtrated as well as, like a clean room or surgical room. So a lot of that is, you've got safety glasses on even with corrected vision. Yeah. And a lot of that just is exposure. And so even years and years ago when I started my career at GM back home in Canada, I was, working the night shift, so your eyes are naturally tired. I was wearing contact lenses. And safety glasses, and I was in like a body in white environment, which is a lot of welding, so you have a lot of like discharge from the welding, and so there's a lot of things that get in your eyes naturally. Yeah. And irritation with contact lenses was something that I always hated. Yeah. Going through the recovery of PRK, definitely having dry eyes is part of the kind of the repercussions of it, but not having to worry about like losing a contact because it's super dry or anything like that is really cool. So,
well, and if you've ever worn contacts and gotten a piece of lint or a grain of sand under it, not fun, very painful, just scratchy, irritation, not a good feeling. And when you work in an environment like you just described, can understand how that would be a pretty common occurrence. So Mitch Schull had his surgery 2 months ago, and his vision today is better than 20/20, which is awesome. That's pretty expected at this juncture with the current technology that we have. And some patients with PRK continue to have improvement in their vision even beyond this stage. So I would guess by 3 to 6 months we'll kind of figure out exactly where you're at.
We were joking, hopefully it'd be 2010.
Well, and so you had shared with me a couple months ago when you came in, and one of your dreams would be to do what? If
I could do anything tomorrow, it'd be either be a fighter pilot or be an astronaut. It would be awesome to do.
Okay, so speaking of fighter pilot, well, let's get that in a sec. So this is a picture of Mitch here. This is diving, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
so where is this?
That's in Monterey, actually, last year when I did my rescue diver course. Okay. Monterey is known to be some of the best cold water diving in the world, and so I had a chance to do my rescue diver course out here. Okay. Was still wearing contacts at that point, and I think at that point, having to take everything off during rescues and stuff, I was like, it's definitely time to get lazy.
Very cool. And then you do have a private pilot's license, obviously, and here's a couple shots here. You could tell us a little bit about what aircraft you're flying in here, and then what's this one coming in? Is that your private jet, or-
yeah, I wish it was a private jet. This is actually taken by, this one here was taken by my friend Carrie, who's she's actually a meteorologist with the Weather Network back home in Canada. And she took a photo of that. That's a Piper Warrior 180, which is a small single-engine, low-wing aircraft. And that was what I pretty much left Canada flying. It's a great aircraft, and I learned at Spectrum Airways. I'm like giving all these people shout-outs. That's actually at London International Airport, which is a popular spot for local pilots to fly into. And then that was just like a selfie I think I took flying the same aircraft.
Okay, cool. So you're from Toronto area originally,
Yep,
and you
Toronto.
must be a Leafs fan?
Yes.
Are
I have
you?
to say
Now,
that.
so you're welcome for getting Patrick Marleau for the last couple of years. He's really on loan until you guys get a cup, and then he's probably coming back here.
Then we'll probably do
Is that, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Well, let's go ahead and open it up for some questions. We'd like to allow some time for that.
Okay, you said something about technology. Can you talk about your technology?
Yeah, so the technology that we're using today is very different than it was for laser eye surgery compared to even 10 or 20 years ago. And what we used to do is just refine a patient's glasses prescription and then manually enter that into our laser, and it would come up with a treatment that would hopefully get rid of all of those degrees of nearsightedness and astigmatism. But as you can imagine, a lot of those prescriptions are pretty common, and if you came up with a prescription in patient 1 versus patient 2 that was the same, they actually got the exact same laser treatment. And now we know with today's technology, everybody's eyes are slightly different. I mean, it's not ever common to have the exact same vision problems, and so we capitalize on that with today's technology by using a lot of our imaging techniques, which that data is then fed directly into our laser. And we're at a point now where we can use the corneal measurements called topography to drive the laser treatments, and the results are even better than what we were getting 10, 20 years ago. And that's the technology I've been using ever since 2016, actually.
If I come in for consultation, do you determine at that time if I should have PRK procedure rather than LASIK? That's
Yeah,
what I have.
so coming in for a consultation is the first step, and at that point we're determining what your prescription is, what your corneas look like, and then we'll be able to pretty quickly determine what your candidacy is. There is a full eye exam that's always done, usually at a second appointment, to make sure there's nothing else going on with a patient's eyes, whether they have any other eye conditions like cataracts or glaucoma. That's a normal healthy eye check, but we can tell pretty quickly with our free consultation, if you were to come in and see if you're a candidate, what you would
I
be
think
ideal
it was
for.
definitely if you do even like do your pre-research and just know a little bit about your previous history or what you may have had in the past. When you come and see Dr. Furlong, it's very quick and easy to understand kind of what you're.
Well, and you had been thinking about it for a while, and before he moved down here to the Bay Area, did you move down for the Tesla position?
Oh yeah. I moved
So
forward.
before he moved down here, he was thinking about laser surgery, and he saw a local provider in Toronto that gave him a recommendation as well.
Mitch, can you talk a little bit more about your fighter pilot desires?
My dad is an aerospace engineer. I've always grown up around planes. He was a pilot as well and an engineer, and so that kind of drove me into a very motivated kind of career, and I didn't really know what that would lead me to. Back in the day, I mean, I think I told you this, my dad never had a chance to get like eye correction, and so
Sure.
He kind of went the engineering route and kind of followed in that footsteps. I wanted to go to RMC, which is our military college in Canada, but back then, I mean, I was too young to get corrective surgery, and I didn't want to do anything else. Most people that know me know it's like I just want to fly like fighter jets or nothing else. And then so I basically at that point made a decision to go to school and get an education, get a job, and now I'm blessed to have a lot of really good life mentors. Some of them are current or active duty fighter pilots that have really encouraged me to, that's the only thing that's really broken down the barrier for me to be able to be a good candidate to be a pilot, and really convinced me like maybe it's time to consider it. And at the time the tech was good, and I wanted to really find a good provider, and said I think it's time to do it.
Well, that pathway to the occupation you're talking about was never available even here in the U.S. until more recently. It was that you had to naturally have 20/20 or better vision that you were born with to be even considered for a military aviator in the United States, and that's lifted now because we've got a long track record with some of the techniques we're talking about, and good luck to you. I really hope that you get to realize that dream, and if you do, then I want to come fly with you.
Yeah, I was joking with everybody that I hope to be on the alumni wall.
Very good. Well, do we have time for one more question, and then we'll answer any follow-up questions following the actual live broadcast?
Is the preparation time for the procedure the same for both LASIK and PRK?
Yeah, preparation time is pretty similar. The actual surgery time takes about 10 minutes for both eyes. His was 6 seconds over that. I'll have to work on that, I guess. But yeah, it's about 10 minutes for both eyes. The preparation time, there's full eye exam we do usually a week or two ahead of time, but there's not much other than using eye drops and following instructions both before and after the surgery, and we'll go through all of that when you come in for your evaluation to make sure you're a good candidate. So. Thank you very much for your time, sir. I really had fun with you on our 2019 inaugural edition of Ask Dr. Furlong Facebook Live, and we'll get to your questions online shortly.
Yay!
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was cool. Hey, you're welcome. That was fun.